damned. We made it. We're here.
You were muted.
We are here.
Yeah.
We were muted?
No, I'm not muted.
Now you're not.
Oh.
Now you're not.
Oh. Okay, so we're here.
Yeah,
Well, hi, everybody.
Internet and mute button be damned. We made it.
Boy,
The internet is messing up.
Why don't you give a brief rundown, Coastal, on what's actually going on in our neck of the woods right now? Because
Okay, so a little background into Coastal. Coastal used to work IT for an internet company up here in the Northeast, and I went through my channels, and basically Xfinity is having a seizure right now up here in the Northeast, and it's very bad. So if our internet goes out, very bad. There's a seizure happening somewhere in central Massachusetts with Xfinity.
which is like the heart of everything in the Northeast.
It feeds off the Boston line, yeah.
All right. Let's see. Who do we have in our chats? Because I lost my chats during this whole thing.
We got Psycho Joe over here and Mike D.
Mike D.
Evil Doink, Bob Holly, 2023 Hall of Fame. I agree. Bob Holly should be in the Hall of Fame.
Looks like we had a raid from Hunter Dillon for Party of 5. I don't know how long ago that was.
I don't know about the evil Doink, though.
I mean, Doink should be a Hall of Famer.
Just Doink in general was ridiculous enough, and it got over enough where it'd be an interesting discussion. I'll go with that.
But Bob Holly, 100%.
Yeah, just for longevity's sake and for
just for the Royal Rumble where he found Pewter and just abused Pewter for 2 minutes in the Royal Rumble.
I'm about to go. I forgot Pewter's name for a second, but yeah, oh my goodness, did he conduct a royal ass beating?
Oh my God, it was bad.
Well, that's what you get when you take liberties with Kurt Angle.
Oh yeah, and then when you get in the ring with Chris Benoit and Bob Holly, and I can't remember who the other guy was, but didn't matter.
It was destruction.
All right. Let's begin because I don't know how much longer we have here.
All right, let's go. Yeah.
Let's get her done.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Dudes and Belts Wrestling Chatcast special edition here on Twitch and YouTube. I am your host, Johnny Deathdrop, as always, and we got a show to talk about tonight as it pertains to Worlds Collide.
Yes.
Before we get into everything that happened tonight on Worlds Collide, let's introduce the panel for tonight because we are going to be short-handed. On the left, we have the one that lives way up there on the east coast of Maine, the inventor of the Beacon of the Week.
He said it.
I said it.
He did it right. Hallelujah.
The one and only Coastal Crusader.
What is going on, everybody? The Coastal Crusader's worn many hats tonight. He has been a wrestling analyst. He's been an internet analyst. But what I do know is the worlds did collide tonight, and we had a pretty entertaining show with Rocky Mountain Pro kind of coming out on top.
Nobody came out on top. It was a tie.
Well, I mean, I in my opinion, they had the better showing, and that's what I mean.
Oof. On the right, we have our resident masshole himself, the one and only Marky Pins.
What is good, everybody? I am the masshole, and yes, worlds collided tonight in the Wimmer Arena in Englewood, Colorado. Hugo's Lucha Libre, Rocky Mountain Pro collided and exploded. The crowd was electric. The wrestling was fantastic. We're going to get into it in just a few short seconds here.
And yes, we will have Triple I within the next within the next 5 or 10 minutes. He is running a little bit late.
Why?
We started late tonight.
Right,
he's still late.
I know it's true.
And then,
Very true.
And then in 3, 2, 1.
Doody. Oh no!
Imagine. Wait, did it happen? No, it didn't.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, typically on a Sunday night, we do the Rocky Mountain Rewind with you guys, and we watch everything from back in the day of Rocky Mountain Pro. This is kind of our nice little chill stream that we have with all of you guys. Get to watch a little bit of wrestling from Rocky Mountain Pro's history. However, tonight, we have a special treat for you because we will be doing one of our review shows that we do for any big show that Rocky Mountain Pro does here with Worlds Collide that just happened about 15 minutes ago, actually like 25 minutes because we're having issues up here. But Tonight, Worlds Collide, Hugo's Lucha Libre versus Rocky Mountain Pro in a first, and looks like possibly more events like this in the future between these two promotions, which is good. Before we get into everything, fellas, what did you think about this actual event altogether? It's definitely a different type of wrestling, different type of styles, especially when you have two different styles go at it at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I did notice that the Rocky Mountain Pro guys and gals here seemed a little bit more on the stronger style side, as we expected with a lucha versus a traditional wrestling company. But it really did show that the luchas had the speed advantage, even in matches you didn't expect them to, like the Balaam match, where Balaam typically has a speed advantage, but not in this scenario.
No, he didn't. It really showed what happens when worlds collide. Like literally, it's two separate ideas, two separate ways of getting to the same path in professional wrestling. And it was the adaptation and the improvisation in the middle of the ring that really told the story in many of these matches tonight. Everybody kind of had to get out of their comfort zone a little bit, maybe work with some people they haven't worked with before, and execute beatdowns a little differently than they would have normally under different circumstances. But in the end, they pulled it off, and the crowd loved every bit of it. What a crowd in the Wimmer Arena tonight, too. That
Wimmer
really
was
packed to the gills. It was a fantastic crowd. Looked like a hell of an event. Wish we were there, to be honest.
All right. Let's get right down to the nitty-gritty here. Let's talk about our first matchup of the evening here on Worlds Collide. Excuse me. We're going to kind of do this a little bit more differently. Just because of the wide range of wrestling that we saw tonight, we're going to kind of open things up a little bit and have more of an open discussion on this show tonight. We're going to try something a little bit different to see how it works. So, boys, Anubis and Sombre Azteca Jr. going up against your guys' favorite tag teams of all time, JK-Pop.
Yay. I will give them credit, though. They were honoring Preston, even though Preston wasn't here tonight, with the power of orange gear. They had the poo gear on, Marky.
AD called it the poo gear.
It was the poo gear, and I don't mean Winnie the Pooh. I mean, it was poo. But they didn't wrestle like poo. Marky, is it me, or is it just every time JK-Pop comes out and they're in a tag match, they just win? And I hate saying this because, yeah, they cheat to win, but they win clean too. And tonight was just a matter of, we've been a tag team, we know how to work together, and we work together better than you. Am I wrong here? Because Casanova at the end of it literally was right place, right time.
No, it's true. I honestly think that was the story of the match. You know, there is familiarity between these two teams, and there is no way that this was the first time that they locked up, and we saw that. There was a level of familiarity between these two. But I also think there's a real high rivalry between these two. And we know from being in our own world of professional bowling over here that sometimes we have rivalries with people, and you do step up a little bit higher. Mm-hmm. You do play a little bit harder to make sure that you get that W. And JK-Pop, again, and it's their MO. They are so good. They are tag team specialists. But 95% of it is being in the right place at the right time. And JK-Pop is just, love them or hate them, despise them or absolutely like adore them. They are in the right place at the right time perpetually. And tonight was no different from that. From the working back and forth with all the arm drags and the go behinds and everything, JK-Pop kept up with them. But at the end, when Sombra went for the top rope, Johnny pushed him off, and then they were right there for the Kaiju Buster. It was almost like they drew it up that way.
I mean,
so don't go well.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Sombra and Anubis both had great moments in this match.
Oh, I mean, God, yes.
Anubis comes in and he literally slapped the crap out of Johnny Casanova at one point. And
Casanova wasn't even in the ring yet. He was still on the outside.
Yeah. And that was before he takes
the holes off his mask.
Takes a hot tag later in the match and almost literally turns the match around. And Hugo's guys may end up with a W here, but it is what it is. Johnny Casanova and Caden know, if I'm in this place at this time, you do this. You do this. They don't even need to talk to each other. It is literally they know each other like the back of their hands, and that is why they're so hard to beat. I take nothing away from their in-ring ability, but their chemistry as a tag team cannot go understated ever.
No, it can't.
It is what makes them what they are.
But you could also tell on the other side of things, from Sombre Azteca and from Anubis, that they also have a good cohesion with each other as well. So these are two teams that are very familiar with each other, but also very familiar with themselves and know how to work back and forth. And it seemed as though JK Pop and Eyes will attest to this absolutely. What's going on, Eyes? Welcome to the show, bro.
Marky Pants Coastal. What's up, buddies?
How you doing, guy?
We were talking about JK Pop kind of always being in the right place at the right time to make sure at the end of a match that they get the win. Tonight was no different. We've seen it so many times before. Tell us how you see when you watch JK Pop, wherever you watch JK Pop, just their specialty as a tag team unit.
So take out our personal feelings. We'll talk wrestling strictly with JK Pop, obviously.
I know it hurts.
To me, any team from any wrestling promotion, doesn't matter what promotion, any tag team that's facing JK Pop, if you don't have your A+ game going on, you're going to lose. And I caught the tail end, Marky, of what you and Coastal were saying about tag team continuity and chemistry and compatibility. The 3 C's that JK Pop have. That's what makes them so dangerous, guys. Listen, the other team, no matter who you are, you have to have your A+ game on. But because of JK Pop's continuity together, I feel that they necessarily don't have to have their A+ game going on. They can have maybe like an A- or a B+ game going on, but because they know each other so well, they can read what the other person's thinking. They know what the other person's gonna do next. It makes up for it. It compensates for maybe if they're having an off night, and therefore, if you yourself are having an A+ night, they're going to capitalize on that. That's why they are the best tag team in all of RMP right now, and not just now, but for past several years. That's my take on JK Pop. And so we rag on them and we crap on them here and there, but there's no denying tag team chemistry and talent when you see it.
All right, we just had a flurry of people come into YouTube real quick. Let's shout them out.
Yes, we did.
Quick.
Yeah, let's talk to all of them.
Starting with McDiamond, Obi, Ned, Rhea Rabbit, Biohazard, Yaden, the boss man himself, Miss Not One for Chaos, John Corpus, Just Your Average Jen, Queen Vampirus, Game Smashing. How's it going, everybody over there on YouTube? And we have
Good.
Johnny Casanova in chat over on Twitch with Just Your Average Jen, Hunter Dillon, Psycho Joe.
Hey, can I ask Johnny a question? Johnny,
Go right
Go
ahead.
over to Twitch and heckle them.
Johnny, why did you wear 2 masks tonight when you came out? You had the protective mask on and then the lucha mask on. You could have left the lucha mask on. Is it just an idea?
No, they had to stomp it. They had to send a message, we're just so big and tough. We have to stomp it. Yeah, blah.
I'm pretty sure he took the lucha mask off because he didn't put the anti-fog on the other one. He couldn't see.
All right, boys.
Yeah, we can get carried away. You better stop us now.
We're stopping now. We're stopping now.
All right, fine.
We could take a whole episode on just JK Pop itself. So
I know, which is
In
why
the
we're
power of
stopping
orange,
now.
absolutely.
Which is why we're stopping now.
I'm going over to Twitch to heckle him.
good thing, John.
All right. Moving on to our next matchup on Worlds Collide here. We had Sky Hossman going up against Master Flight. That's probably going to be the easiest name I pronounced the entire night, by the way.
This was an interesting match. Very even matches against each other. Sky Hossman, we've seen lately on Ignition, has been on fire. He's taken to the skies like very few have done in the last couple months. See what I did there? But Master Flight, not intimidated whatsoever tonight. As we see, very back and forth. Flight starts with a few takedowns. Sky comes back with the big kicks. Really back and forth. Coastal, we've seen a lot of Sky Hossman on Ignition and Charge lately. I mean, he was the Ignition champion not too long ago. This was a pretty good match to watch go back and forth like this, huh?
It was, absolutely. I think Sky was a little frustrated because I think he came in expecting Master Flight to fly more. And I think the ground and pound and the grappling kind of threw Sky off a little bit. And I think once he adjusted to that, I think what Master Flight did here, and you see at the end, is he bounced between styles so well. He bounced between the traditional wrestling style that we know and the lucha style. And he really kept Hossman off his game because Hossman's been hot lately. Let's face it, he's a former Ignition champion, gave that up to take a charge shot. Now he's right there. I mean, he impresses every time he comes out. He doesn't need Preston. That's my opinion. He certainly doesn't need the bozos that have the tag titles. I think he could go by himself. Maybe he's using them. Who knows? Maybe he's putting one over on them. I wouldn't put anything past Sky Hossman at this point. Eyes, when you see Sky Hossman and you see him take a loss tonight, I don't think it hurts him, honestly.
No, I think it's more of a learning. It's a learning opportunity, honestly. One loss isn't going to define your wrestling career. One loss isn't going to set you back 10 steps, in my opinion. You said it best. You know, you think your opponent's going to be flying here and there, and therefore you have planned to a certain game strategy for that wrestling match. And then, like you said, when they go for the ground and pound, it throws you off your strategy a little bit. So therefore, I think once you're thrown off your strategy, you're thrown off your game plan. It's like, all right, how do I bounce back from that? How do I come back from behind the 8 ball? And to me, it's just a learning opportunity for next time. So you have to be prepared for all wrestling styles, all from all all walks of earth, essentially. And that's what it comes down to. And your other comment, so I agree with you. He doesn't need Preston. Hossman does not need JK Pop, but he just lost the match. So, I don't know.
He lost the match because Master Flight took flight in the end when Sky was finally knocked out. There was a big, huge second rope arm drag, nice basement 1-foot drop kick, almost more like a thrust kick. And then Master Flight went up to the top rope and hit the top of the Wimmer Arena with the moonsault. And Sky, you're not kicking out of that, man. Master Flight comes straight down and did finally fly at the very end of the match. But it was just too late for Sky to do anything about it. Way too late. But that moonsault was absolutely gorgeous. It was right on the button. Right on the button. He did give a flying lesson to Sky. Yes, when your opponent is down, fly high. Mm-hmm. And he did. Good match. Scores even 1-1 after 2 here.
Big risk, big reward.
Yes.
He cashed in. All right. This is when the names are going to get butchered, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm just going to say this right now. I apologize ahead of time. If I butcher your name, I'm sorry. Don't kill me. Okay.
We're from New England. We don't pronounce R's.
Nah.
There's lots of R's in lucha stuff.
Yes.
Wicked.
Yes. All right. Istel Estrada and Puma. I hope I got that right again. I apologize.
Istel Estrada and Puma. No, I'm just saying with the AHs instead of R's. It's the New England in us. Yeah, no, it's hard, dude.
This is really hard.
Wicked freaking hard, guy. Like there's so many R's that we have to force pronounce, and we're not used to that.
So Istel Estrada and Puma tag team, and they go up against our Lockettes, Lilith Grimm, and I believe a debut, first ever match for Adrian Mascara.
That's what we heard. Yes.
Yeah, and she looked really good out of the gate, honestly. She looked very strong against Estelle Estrada there. She looked very, very good, and she gets to Lilith, and Lilith comes in and is just the freight train we know that she is. She comes in and establishes dominance. She's like, this is my house. This is the Wimmer. This is where I am the Lockette. And she establishes that it's her ring. And that's what Lilith does when she goes in there. We do see in this match what happens when you have somebody who we talked about tag continuity in the last match. This certainly comes into play. Because we do have Mascara making her debut with Lilith. They've never tagged together, obviously. We can tell that Puma and Estrada have tagged together, and that's what happens in this. Yeah. Once they isolate Mascara and keep Lilith out of the ring, this match completely changes, Marky. And I think that's what contributes to this win, is they just keep Lilith out of the ring long enough to take advantage of the newcomer.
Mm-hmm. Well, because they tried to work together. They tried so many different like double pins. You know, it got to a point where I thought this was like a tornado match, and it got to a point where the control was so crazy, the ref just kind of let it go. And if ref lets it go, then it is what it is. And the Luchas took advantage of that. Puma and Itzel took advantage of that and kept trying to double pin Lilith. It didn't work. Couple big moves and Lilith's out of the ring, and then they take over on Adrian. Now, Adrian does get a nice little flurry of offense in, man. She gets a couple sweet reverse, like rolling arm drags going backwards. Not bad. But then Puma gets back in and ends up locking this devastating leg lace submission onto Lilith as Lilith's rolling in to try to help out. We see both Puma and Itzel try to lock the leg submissions, but Lilith managed to get locked in first. I'm sorry, no, Adrian managed to get locked in first, and she had no choice but to tap. It looked like her knee was going to explode from just the way that leg lace looked, man. It was really, really devastating. And Lilith did a good job at making sure that Itzel couldn't get it locked on her. So, but we see Adrian tap, but a very impressive showing. You know, they kind of had matching gear. It looked like Adrian was up for the task.
Yeah.
She's strong. She's quick. She's got some moves. So somebody who, this was her first match this evening. You would have never known that if nobody told you that. Very impressive debut. However, just up against the brick wall that was Itzel and Puma tonight. Rio, eyes, we've seen Lilith. And tonight she's been, like, we've seen her mentor some of these other young ones coming up, like Noelle Summit before she turned to the dark side and such like that. Talk about coming out with Lilith and that level of mentorship with, like, that kind of experience that somebody like Lilith Grimm and the confidence that somebody like that can help give you.
Well, Coastal said it right away. She started the match. She took dominance of the match and took dominance of the ring. And like, this is my ring. This is my arena. This is my show. This is me. So I feel when you establish your dominance right there, you're establishing that you are the leader. You follow my path. You follow my guidance, and I will lead you to victory, or I will do my best to lead us to victory. And that's what Lilith did here, essentially. Mm-hmm. And I feel like also, Marky, to part B of your question, essentially, is unfortunately, in the past, Lilith has been burned by some of her friends, like Noelle and JC, you know, way back in the day. Unfortunately, so that sticks in the back of her mind. You never lose that. So in this instance, with this tag team match where she's never had any experience tagging with Mascara there, she's like, you know what? I'm not taking any chances. You're gonna follow my lead, follow my example, and we're gonna do things my way. So essentially, therefore, if they did lose the match, you know, at least, you know, it's not really that big of a loss, because you can't go back and be like, oh, well, I should have taken the lead. I should have done things more my way. You're not saying that. And the second thing also is, guys, it's their first time tagging together.
Right.
So how much of a loss is it? It's called the feeling out process. You're trying to discover each other's strengths and weaknesses, where you could help pick up someone's slack and vice versa. When to be dominant, when to let the other one step in and give them their time to shine. So it's not really a loss in my. Technically, it is, but you get what I'm saying, though. So hopefully they could Lilith can build on this with Mascara and go from there. See what happens. But I will say, just Lilith needs to just, you know, be cautious, because she's been burned in the past, obviously, recently by a few of her friends.
Truth.
All right. Moving on. We had a very entertaining match right here, and Echo going one-on-one against Rayo?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, Rayo.
All right, Echo versus Rayo.
Really cool. This match started with a handshake. Echo extended his hand. Good competition. We've seen Echo do that many times. We know he's a man of respect and valor and such, and good competition in the ring. Unless you're a member of JK Pop, at which point it's been well-deserved. However, tonight...
Which point it's on site.
Fact. But tonight, Echo and Rayo, you know, these guys matched up really, really well together. We've seen Echo take a normal move and be able to hang on to it. It's pronounced Rio. Okay, very good. So we see him tonight lock the knuckle lock on. We've seen him use the headlock. Tonight he uses the knuckle lock.
I'm sorry, Rio?
Okay. Well, they spelled it R-A-Y-O. I thought it was
Rayo.
Rayo.
R-A-Y-O. It's the A's,
We know a
guys.
Rio.
Either way, he was extremely impressive. He was extremely impressive.
Extremely, yes.
With Echo. Like, these two guys fought in and out of pinning combinations in the knuckle lock. They each took turn monkey flipping each other in the knuckle lock, not breaking it. Fantastic sequence of chain wrestling and just good fashion mat grappling, pinning a guy's arm to the shoulder. I think poor Eli had to count like 15 separate 2 counts, man, because they just kept giving it to each other, going back and forth, monkey flip, pin. Very cool exchange in the beginning. Nice fast pace. We see Echo get a little bit frustrated towards as we're going on here that the offense isn't working. He's kind of staring into a mirror. Normally, other people are staring into the mirror when they look at Echo because he is that mockingbird that will take your move and put you on the canvas with it. Now it seems like Echo's looking into a mirror of sorts. Somebody who is just as quick and just as fast and just as quick up here as well, not just physically. I thought it was very, very good, very stalematy, very back and forth. Nobody took any extra chances. Thought it worked out really good. Rayo does get a little advantage, hits a big old backstabber. After Echo comes in for the dive in the corner, Rayo got away. Echo's sitting on that second rope. Bang, nice big backstabber. Corner super kick. He planted Echo's head down, kind of like Sin Bodhi's done in recent weeks. And the big super kick to the face. But, I mean, really, really good back and forth. Echo manages to get himself hyped up, catches Rayo in a nice big side slam. And we were sitting here talking like, this is it. This is where Echo's going to pick up the juice and get it going. However, Rayo ends up getting his way up and catches Echo on the top rope. And, boys, did you see that Spanish fly that he ended the match with? Oh, it almost had like a half twist in it, too. Gorgeous. I'm sure it didn't feel gorgeous when it landed, but beautiful to watch. And Rayo gets the win over Echo. We were very surprised in the beginning. I mean, as we were talking and we were watching how it was going back and forth, we were just waiting for Echo to bust out, and it just didn't happen. And Rayo ends up kind of catching Echo off guard and catching that Spanish fly. Huge off the top rope Spanish fly, Coastal, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this was kind of like, okay, Rayo had a very much control in a lot of this match. And this was like, what do I have to do to put Balaam down? And he basically went all in with Echo. I'm sorry. Basically went all in with this Spanish fly to put Echo down because he had to. Everything else he had tried didn't work. So he pushed all in, hit this big Spanish fly from the top, and it's why he got the win, in my opinion. Rio, we talk about Echo and Balaam and La Isla. This is a loss. But again, I don't think it definitely doesn't hurt Echo in the long run at all. But is this kind of a wake-up moment for Echo, Rio?
I don't know if it's a wake-up moment or not, because a wake-up moment is like maybe like, did you not do your homework? Did you maybe underestimate your opponent? Did you maybe were you sleeping? Whatever the case may be. I know Echo lost the match, but every time you guys watch an Echo match, whether it's with La Isla or by himself, does it look like Echo doesn't do his homework? Does it look like he falls behind the 8 ball? It doesn't to me. Never. It never does. He never looks. It never, ever, ever looks like he loses a step. Never. So I don't think his stock goes down, and I don't think I don't think he suffers from it at all. Really, I just think he met his match tonight. Sometimes, sometimes, and even and Marky and Coastal, you and Johnny D Squared, you guys know this more than anyone. If I can compare to the bowling world, you think you've done your homework, you're ready, you're prepared, you have a match to go. And sometimes you meet your counterpart, you meet your equal that night, and they just beat you by that much. That's what happened. That's what happened with Echo. And it looks like Rayo, however you pronounce his name, maybe he did some extra film study on Echo. You know, there's a lot of film study out there on Echo. He's been, he's got several matches out there, obviously, for several years. So there's plenty of studying to do. So maybe he did some extra film study, took some extra notes, and learned how to counter some moves to get that extra advantage on him, and it proved in the end with that Spanish fly.
I think a big part of it is. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
No, I was
so-
going to say, Mr. Fourth Row just put it in chat over here on YouTube, and we didn't know this. First of all, he says it's Ryo with a
Ryo.
long I. Okay, so Ryo
Ryo.
is a former Hugo's champion. So this is a man who has had gold, who understands
Makes
these things and
sense.
takes care of business like this. Echo's had gold around his waist too, once before, but not the big gold like Ryo has had before. So maybe that factors into that endpoint where he has wrestled somebody who is kind of like a mirror to himself too, and just kind of figured it out that stay with them, stay with them, stay with them. Bang, huge impact at the end, and he's not getting up. And that was kind of what we saw.
So essentially, it was a game of chess, essentially.
Yes.
Which it comes
That's a
down to.
very good way to put it. Yes, sir. Yeah.
You know, and I think
That's
also
what the whole match looked like. It was like a
Right.
chess game. Pawn
Right.
versus pawn.
Yep. And I think also Ryo, and if he's been a former champion, Hugo champion, he's been in these big matches then. He's been in the big moments. He's been under the spotlight. So he wasn't going to succumb to the pressure. Wasn't going to succumb to one of RMP's greatest, great talents out there with Echo. So he knew he knew what he had to do. And again, this is taking nothing away from Echo whatsoever. 9 out of 10 times I see Echo in the ring, I'm putting my money on Echo.
Mhm.
I still am.
This was a pisser match. It really could have gone either way, and it just happened to be that Ryo found the first opening, which proved to be the opening.
Yeah, you guys are going to have to probably pay attention a little bit more to chat for me because my chat is not refreshing half the time. So I didn't even see that comment.
Oh, from Mr. Fourth Row?
Yeah. So could
No,
probably
it's
use
all
a
right.
little
Got
bit
it.
of help
We
tonight.
can do that.
We good?
We're struggling over here right now.
Yeah.
The internet.
Put chat up.
Internet's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell. I could see it on my end too.
The internet's in the torture rack right now.
Well, we're in
Yeah.
with the winter storms coming and everything, So
All right. Moving on. We have Pantho and Remy D, and you would think that this would just be an RMP versus RMP match to kind of space everything out, but no. Pantho decides to take his shirt off, and he's wearing a Hugo's Lucha Libre shirt. So apparently he's wrestling on the side of
Turncoat.
Hugo's tonight.
Yeah, he picked sides, and this was a little bit more Panthro than I think even Remy had thought about. I mean, for the early part of this match, Panthro kind of kept picking away and picking away and picking away, and had part of Remy. Early on, we see Remy hit the big rolling thunder thighs in the beginning, but Panthro really did put up a fight. But this just shows why Remy D is the charge champion and why Remy D has held that belt since Milestone and why it's not coming off Remy D anytime soon, in my opinion.
nope.
It's because Remy finds ways to win. Remy will find ways to win all the time. And that is just what Remy does and looks fly as hell doing it, if I must say
goodness.
so.
Those
Marky,
glasses and
the
that
glasses and the jacket tonight. You know why it's not? A lot of people would say, "Oh, that's over the top. Oh, that's flamboyant." The same reason we don't say it about Ric Flair is the same reason we don't say it about Remy. It's because they back it up when they get in the ring.
Yes, they do. And to Remy, that was not anything extra over the top. That was just Sunday evening to
Mhm.
Remy D, man. I'm telling you. Panthro had a few moments. He kind of scratched and clawed his way through as much as he
See what you
possibly
did there?
could. You like that stuff? I got dad jokes for days over here. But in the beginning, he made a mistake, though. He took his T-shirt off when he does show the Hugo's logo, which is fine. You know what I mean? Like, we're not knocking it. But then you take the T-shirt and you chuck it at Remy D. You just throw it at him and hit him. That sent Remy D into a tizzy early in the match. And Panthro had no choice but to come back with the claws and the scratches and everything else that he has to do in order just to get some space, because Remy is a pissed off individual. Like you said, dude, he hits the Thez press, he hits the rolling thunder thighs. I mean, he walks the top rope into an arm drag. He goes old school into a huge arm drag. It was awesome. Remy is on point. But then the big hard buckle to Remy in the corner and a big suplex, and he does gain a little advantage with the scratches and every other thing, but who's going to fight back better than Remy, and who's going to look better doing it than Remy D? And the answer is absolutely nobody. big drive-by boot in the corner, the rolling Death Valley driver that we see him do out of the corner, and then we want to call it like the glitter fall cutter or the trust fall cutter. He gets up on the second rope, dives backwards, and hits a gorgeous cutter right to Panthro's face. 1, 2, 3. Remy D looking beautiful, holding the belt, walking out of the women. It wasn't for the title, but man, he looks good with it. I'm telling you. And we got to give it to Triple I right here, because we're talking about Remy D. We're talking about Panthro's face in the mat, and we're talking about Remy D standing tall with the belt. I don't even have to lead you in with a question. Bro, say a few syllables about
Eyes.
D.
Eyes.
But keep
Behave.
it PG. Keep it PG.
Let me
We
button
have
up.
to warn you.
Let me button up.
If we don't, if we don't warn you, he won't have a shirt on by the end of when he's talking. So we have to warn you.
Or he'll sweat through it.
Damn, you got me.
Yep.
Got me
Keep
good.
it. I'll keep it PG, and just to keep the show going along as well.
Very good.
Bold prediction number 1: Remy D will remain the charge champion throughout all of 2023. I 100%. Number 2, you mentioned. I want to point out something. Also, I thought of something. I want to bring it back to Milestone as well. So, Panthro is clawing and scratching as Marky made his dad joke, obviously, and and there was a few moments in there where we thought Panthro may have had the upper hand on Remy D, but. Guys, remember when Remy D won the Charge Championship from Sledge at Milestone, and Remy and his knee was essentially like shattered to pieces almost by Sledge?
Yes.
Remy D fought back through a much bigger and tougher and meaner and angrier opponent, Sledge, who tore up his knee, and Remy D still came back on one leg to win the championship. So to me, if you can go through that, you're gonna. It's not a knock against Panthro, but my point is, Remy D has been through the jungle. He's been through fire. He's been through hell. So he knows what it takes to withstand pain and agony and and things like that. He knows how to weather the storm. That's what it comes down to. So. And Remy guys, we cannot understate this enough. Or overstate this enough. Excuse me. We cannot overstate this enough. His confidence is at an all-time high, and his momentum is at an all-time high. All right. So when you have that rolling feud, I don't care whether the belt's on the line or not. I don't care who your opponent is or not. You have that going for you. It's like a handicap match. You're in a singles match, but it's like a handicap match. You have the momentum and that confidence and your own self against your opponent. And man, there are disadvantages already. And you're gonna win the match. You don't know how, but you're gonna win that match. That's exactly what Remy D did. And that's been the common denominator for Remy D for the better half of the past 8 months now.
Look at him. He's vibrating. I love it. I love when he talks about Remy D. He starts like buzzing in his
He
seat.
gets so happy.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
I'll get one more thing.
I figured you did.
One more thing. Don't ever underestimate someone's glasses or their wardrobe or their appearance. Don't underestimate that. Man, you piss them off. You inflict that rage in them. You throw your jacket at them or your shirt at them. You do not want to bring out the rage in Remy D. I've seen that guy fired up. I've seen that guy angry. Oh boy, run. Just run, man. You do not stand a chance. Oh, I can go. We talked about last 10 seconds. We'll move on. We talked about a few minutes ago, guys, how we could have a whole show about JK.
2 hours later.
We could have a whole week about Remy D, just so you know.
Here comes the alphabet soup.
One half is the appropriate, one half is the inappropriate. And I'll leave it like that.
God.
I get excited. What can I say?
No, we love it.
We know what you can say, and we appreciate you for.
And
not
I
saying
didn't.
it.
I didn't
right.
tonight. I did not tonight.
It's definitely a first. Where was this? Like a month ago.
Oh no! I pick and choose my battles.
We live, we learn.
You
You
picked
know,
a bad
take the
battle
good with the
last
bad.
time.
The facts of life.
I don't learn.
Clearly.
Yeah, we know.
I have my lawyer get me out of everything. Screw that.
Oh, you went to POS, didn't you?
Oh my God. Oh, you had no. I am. PS is not my lawyer. I'm my own lawyer.
All right, moving on from
Yeah,
that.
so
All
we
right, we got another good match
here.
coming right after this one here. Yes, yes.
All
Oh,
right.
I gotta
Can't talk
recover.
about D week anymore.
Oh.
What?
I said
Moving on. Moving on. Moving on. Moving on.
D week anymore. No, moving on. Moving on.
Way to almost set the world on fire right there. All right, moving on here. Cyber Tiger going up against Balaam Lynx.
Coastal, you want to jump out front on this one? Well,
I mean, yeah, this
It's
was
open
a,
discussion, boys.
This was a lot of Cyber Tiger, man. I was very surprised. He kind of did the same thing that happened to Echo, happened to Balaam. Maybe it's an Isla thing, but they kind of got jumped out on by these guys. They took advantage, and they Cyber Tiger controlled a lot of this match. And I don't know if it was the unfamiliarity that Balaam had, but it just seemed to me like Cyber Tiger really controlled this match. Balaam, though, did an amazing job of adapting, and that is one thing that you need to do in these Worlds Collide type things, in these matches where you don't wrestle these guys, every few weeks or train with them like he does with a lot of RMP guys. And he was able to come out on top tonight because of that familiarity that he has with the ring. I think, the Wimmer played a part in it. And I just think it's Balaam just doing what Balaam does, and he overcomes odds whenever it is. We saw it against Damon. We've seen it against other superstars as well. When Balaam's pushed up against the wall, 9 times out of 10, he comes out on top. And the times he doesn't, it's usually because there's outside interference. Marky, tonight, he gets a big win. We've seen a few times in the past couple weeks he hasn't because of outside interference. Is this Balaam showing that, hey, if no one gets in my way, I can't be stopped?
I think there's a high degree of that. We've seen Balaam when he is out there against many, many other superstars, doesn't matter who, and he rises to the top most every time, and that's why he is one of the top upper echelon stars in RMP, no doubt. No way to deny it in the least bit. He took an absolute beating from Tiger tonight, from Cyber Tiger, from when he gets him to the outside. Tiger gets the big arm drag to the outside, the big suicide dive to the outside. Lynx gets flattened down, back inside, eats a code breaker, gets kicked in the face with a 619, then takes the Swanton. I mean, he just did everything he could to survive. And then when he realized the normal game plan wasn't going to work, and there he is right there in the chat. Mr. Lynx, how you doing, big guy? Great match tonight. He did a good job at making sure that he could still get his offense in while the other guy was Tiger was trying to do his thing. Again, adapting to an unusual opponent, and he does a very, very good job at it. The chop fest in the center of the ring after they both double kicked each other in the head was fantastic. They both got up, one knee, and they just slapped the hair off of each other's chest, man. I'm telling you, these were loud, vicious chops, and I think Balaam got the worst of it. It seemed like Tiger kept turning away from it, but Balaam took the worst of it. But again, he weathered the storm. He survives. He eats a big crossbody, and then there was that double enziguri, and then the big chop fest. But then Lynx finally gets the advantage. Nice rolling snapmare out of the corner right into the big brain buster. And Balaam Lynx gets his win, sees the open opportunity, and takes advantage of that moment. Doesn't waste time leaving him there in a leg drop. Doesn't waste time putting him down and dropping an elbow. Goes right to a finishing move. Adapt, improvise, and overcome. And that's exactly what Lynx does tonight. And that's what we see Balaam do a lot, don't we, guys? We see him get in the ring no matter who he's with, and just find ways to get it done in the end, so long as 2 other guys that look like jack-o'-lanterns aren't coming out there and messing with everybody else's life in those 2 JK bozos. Tonight was Balaam showing out.
Absolutely. And it's not just tonight that's Balaam showing out. He shows out every night that he's out in the ring and doing what he does best. In my opinion, with Balaam, when you have no, jack-o'-lanterns or whatever you're calling it, or bozos or any outside shenanigans, in my opinion, outside of maybe one or two other competitors, no one can touch Balaam Lynx one-on-one. Whether it's RMP or Hugo's Lucha Libre or anywhere, in my opinion.
He's proved that.
He's proved that, not just tonight, guys, and not just for the past month, the past, year and a half, 2 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And he has adapted. He's adapted, and he's had it since day one as well. We've been covering him for the past better part of 2 years now, and he's always had it. He's always had it. He's always persevered. He's always overcome the odds and everything. There's one thing I want to point out on a side note, though. Cyber Tiger had controlled most of the match and the early part of the match as well. And the same thing happened with Echo when he faced Ryo. Guys, you got to remember. So they were it was basically move for move essentially for the most part, and they were both weathering the storm. Guys, I think they were weathering the storm because they're both great singles competitors, but for the better half of the past 4 or 5 months now, they've been in a tag team. So you go from singles competitor to tag team wrestling. You adapt your style of wrestling, your line of thinking, your mentality as well, and you get back into a singles match. You almost have to it's like riding a bike. You do it, for 2 seconds. You know what to do again. But you always have to adapt. It takes your brain a minute to adapt to it and oh, wait a minute. I can't do this now. I have to do this. And by the time you adapt to that, you could be behind the 8 ball. But luckily, Balaam is talented enough in which he can overcome those odds, as we've seen time and time again, and persevere to win. So that's the one thing I've noticed with Balaam and Echo. But they're talented enough in which that's not going to hold them back for long, though.
And damn, Balaam has a beautiful brain buster. Beautiful brain buster.
Brain buster, animality.
I love the brain buster. Always loved the brain buster. Ever since Tully Blanchard used to use it back in the day. Love that move.
All right. Going from one match here. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to keep everything stable here. It's been a rough go tonight. Going off of that, I mean, Helios, man.
I thought it was going to be Adios.
Gave it one hell of a shot.
Yeah.
You got to give him props there.
This was every bit of everything that you have to do against David Drake. I mean, first of all, you draw David Drake. Oh, man. If he knew who David Drake was, he knew what was about to happen. If he didn't know who David Drake was, everybody else knew what was about to happen.
He wondered why everyone was chuckling.
Yeah, wicked. But, dude, the kid brought every single bit of it. He starts out quick, kicking Drake off the apron as he gets up, starts out fast, kicks, plancha dive to the outside, takes Drake down. Drake took a hard bump on the concrete on the outside. He took a real hard one. But then again, he gets back in and they're chasing around. Drake runs straight into the guardrail. No effect. He just gets right back up and kind of stays. Oh, that was another thing I forgot to mention. After that plancha, he takes that hard bump on the outside. He just sat up.
Yeah,
very Undertaker. Up. He just sat up. I mean, this man is not human at this point in time. I think he's like Will Smith in iRobot. Like he's been half put together as like half robot, half man. You know what I'm saying? But he hits the guardrail running after Helios. Helios does a good job quickening things up. Drake's not used to wrestling the quick, style match like this. And he does a good job at just, stick and move, hitting and getting out of there. A couple quick kicks and getting out of there, making sure Drake doesn't get his hands on him. However, Drake has this wonderful thing called a hell of a freight train shoulder tackle, doesn't he, Coastal?
Yeah, he absolutely does. And he runs him over and then runs him over and then runs him over and then just decides to slam him to the ground and rip his face in half. Yeah. And that's how the match ends. It's kind of like David Drake just decides, you know what? I've had enough and I am just going to kill you. And that's what he does. He just kind of throws you around and then just rips your face in half. And that's his MO. He takes a beating. He does. Boy, he's a Timex. He takes a licking. He keeps on ticking. And we saw it against Craig Fairley. We see it again tonight. You can jump him, but I don't know what puts him down. Eyes, what puts David Drake down, if anything?
Someone who's his counterpart, someone who has no emotions, no feelings, and just as sadistic as he is. That's
I only know one guy in RMP to that.
Yeah.
Same here. Same here. Does he also begin? Does his name also begin with D?
It was him or Sledge.
Nope.
I'd almost take Damon.
Damon.
Over Sledge in this
Hands
category.
down, Damon. Take Damon and yep.
Taking nothing away from Sledge.
No,
the man is nuts, and he can bring violence to a whole different level. And Sledge is going to bring that level of violence to David Drake come Never Broken
Yes,
in
he
just
is.
a couple short weeks. That is going to happen, and David Drake is going to have to actually face the man who stared at the devil and made the devil walk away himself. But, I mean, David Drake is just something different than we've seen in RMP in just the last couple of years. Still haven't heard a word out of his mouth. All we've seen is that sick little, like, side grimace, little grin that he does. And, man, I'm telling you, if you draw David Drake in a match, it is going to be a tough night. But to anybody watching who is in that locker room who may have to face a David Drake uncharged on an ignition, take a look at this match and kind of take a page out of Helios's book, because it worked for a good deal of the match. It worked.
It really
and
did.
maybe somebody with a little more familiarity with Drake would know how to follow up on, maybe if he even has any weaknesses. They would be able to follow up a little bit better. But I don't know if we've seen anybody aside from Boss, even when Boss lost the title at Milestone. I still think that
Shocktober.
October, I think.
Shocktober, I'm sorry, excuse me, Shocktober. My bad. But at the same time, that was a fantastic. He brought everything he could to Drake, and that still wasn't enough. This is how you kind of do it.
Craig Fairley also cut. Craig Fairley made him limp.
You know, that's true. The Fairley match, too. I apologize. At the end of Aces Wild. Yes, he did. He brought it to him, too. Yes, he did.
So you guys, exactly, you guys stole the words out of my mouth, and that's a good thing. So I think that's part of the blueprint. When you are facing David Drake, title or no title, you have to bring the fight to him right in the beginning. If you don't, there are sometimes, guys, in wrestling matches, you get behind the 8-ball, you can come back and recover, and you have a chance at winning. You get behind the 8-ball with David Drake, you're done. I'm sorry, you don't stand a chance. You are done. So yes, Helios did the right thing. Craig Fairley did the right thing. You bring the fight right to David Drake. Now, David Drake may like it for some reason. He likes getting hurt. He likes pain. It has no effect on him, and it motivates him for him to inflict pain himself. But you have to do it. You have to bring the fight to him. It's the only way right now, and you have to keep bringing the fight to him. So I think also, this is a good blueprint for Sledge as well. Your stamina is going to be clutch here. And let me explain, boys. When you bring the fight to Drake, that's going to be great in the beginning, the first 5 minutes or so. You're knocking him down, pounding and grounding and all that stuff. But eventually, if you let up and you slow down, Drake will recover, and Drake will find that opening. He'll find that opening, and he'll seize the moment and take advantage of it. And once he does, he's not letting go. So your stamina and your cardio is going to be a crucial element in that match, because you just got to keep going at it, and you think and when you think you have him down, you don't. You keep going at it again and again. It's essentially no mercy until the bell's over.
We all set on the match?
Yep.
All right, we have a main event to talk about. What's that? You gonna say something, Marky?
I was just gonna say, poor Helios, man. He threw everything except the damn kitchen sink.
Adios.
But adios, Helios. David Drake doing David Drake things. Again.
All right. Main event. Atiba versus Vago Estrada.
Yes.
Yeah, Vago, man, I got to give him props for the guts he showed in this match. You could tell early on this match was super fast early, and then Vago really had an issue with his shoulder, and he fought through it a lot of this match. he was basically a one-armed man, and he was fighting Atiba, who, as we know, if he sees something, he's going to take advantage of it, and he did right away. Right as soon as Vago showed some issues with that shoulder, Atiba kicked him right in the shoulder. It was like, it was like, oh, that hurts? Cool, let me help you. Whack! Right in the shoulder. Like, thanks, bud. And he really does a good job of having a one-armed offense, and I think it threw Atiba off as much as it probably threw Vagos off. Atiba was prepared for a guy that, again, lucha style, high-flying, then he's able to adapt, change on the fly. I got to give it to Vargos on this, man. Marky, this was a very great way to adapt. And for Atiba, man, you should have kicked him in the jimmies, I guess.
I was waiting for it, and we thought it was going to happen, but Atiba kind of realized that he had to kind of alter his game plan a little bit, and he kind of does. I'm not going to say he showed mercy to his opponent, because he really didn't, but Vago just did you could tell that this man has a ton of XP, just sitting there waiting in the bank, because he did everything he could to try to figure out a way to be the one-armed man against an athlete the level of Atiba. He does everything he possibly can. He does manage to get Atiba down on his back, and he does come with the kicks and the punches and everything. It turned into much more of a strike fest once he did hurt his arm, because it was just his left arm just wasn't working for him, so it was very hard for him to even hit the ropes, let alone come back in with some flying move or another big huge arm drag off a second rope or something like that. You could tell that he felt handicapped by this. But he does everything he can. He gets him down. Bunch of kicks to Atiba. Comes off the rope, like, kind of gingerly. And then bang, like, nice 1-foot basement drop kick. Not too bad. Atiba goes to get up to the top rope for a move. He's just going to try for some big impact. Vago manages to get over there, and with his good arm, tosses Atiba off the top rope. Kind of stuns Atiba. Gets him in, and now Atiba's in the middle of the ring. It looks like Vago's trying to lock a leg submission, almost like a sharpshooter, but he can't turn him over. So he just kind of like lays down on him, which is smart. He kind of locked his legs together and then just laid down, so he couldn't even use his legs to kick out. And Ref Eli counts to 3. And we get a win. We get a win for Vago, who found a way to beat Atiba somehow, some way, with one arm that was just not working. You could tell he was trying to hit it. He was trying to get some feeling back into it, but you could tell that there was just a different bag of tricks that Vago had to go to afterwards, and he did. Now, we've seen, we don't know much about Vago Estrada. We know that, he's a Hugo's guy, but we can tell he's an important figure over there. He was in the main event. We saw him wrestle Atiba a couple of weeks ago on Ignition. That's how this whole situation came about, because then the Hugo guys came in and challenged the RMP guys, and then we got Worlds Collide tonight, which was one hell of a show. Atiba has been riding very high lately in RMP. He's been doing very well for himself in his own way. Do you think losing in a main event to a man who hurt himself is going to set him back? Do you think this is on his mind, or do you think this new Atiba that doesn't care about anything and who's willing to go lower, no matter what the cost, can shrug this off and say, didn't mean anything, I'm fine?
So that's a tough call. I'm gonna say someone with Atiba's XP and someone with his years and years of just ring prowess and awareness. I think it does set you back a step. I know he doesn't care about whatever, and so be it. But internally, I think he does care about that. You're losing the main event. You're defending RMP's name and honor in the Wimmer Arena against an outsider, essentially, with one arm, and you can't beat him. That's taking nothing away from Estrada, nothing at all. But someone who is as talented as Atiba, who we've seen in AEW, as well. I think it shakes his confidence, in my opinion, a little bit. I think it does. I think it shakes his confidence. Because and the reason why I say that, Mark, because Atiba knows what he's capable of. We know what Atiba's capable of. We know how great he is. We do. He's questionably the best wrestler on that roster, on RMP roster. All right. and you lose to a one-arm man. So I think think about it. If you were in that situation, or you, Coastal, myself, would you be second guessing yourself, second guessing your abilities, second guessing, man, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have gone for the shoulder even more. I should have not showed as much mercy. I'm not saying that he did, but I should have shown more of a fighter mentality, like a predator mentality. I don't know. I think it's gonna let a fire under him, and it's gonna make him more dangerous than what he is going forward. But yeah, for the short term, not the long term, there's a huge difference, guys. For the short term, I think it shakes him a tiny bit. But I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. Atiba's been doing this for a long time, and maybe he's like, you know what? It's just a loss. It is what it is. I'll come back and I'll get the next one. That could be going through his mind as well. So I can't read his mind, but there's so many different ways to perceive this. That's what it comes down to.
All right. You guys all done with the main event?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
All right.
do hope that Vago is okay, to be honest. You hate to see somebody get hurt like that in the middle of the ring. You hate to see that. We hope he's okay, to be honest.
It's gutsy to finish that match, let alone the win. That's gutsy.
Even when we saw it a couple weeks ago, when this whole situation, like I said, came about, when the Hugo's guys did come in and challenge the RMP wrestlers and Mercury Yaden himself, and Hugo and Yaden had that face-off, the match that we did see between Vago and Atiba at that time was exemplary up until the point where it all broke down and everybody started rushing the ring. But up until that moment, these two guys were very well matched, very even, and it was just more of a gem than anything that we thought we were going to get to see it again tonight. And then unfortunately gets hurt. We do, here at the Dudes of Belts, really wish Vago a speedy recovery, and hopefully it's nothing too serious. Hopefully.
Yeah, we never want anyone to get injured, unless it's JK Pop. But no, we never want anyone to get injured.
Not even
no,
JK.
because then we'd have to watch.
I know.
mean,
I'm messing.
Just look what happened. Johnny's face got hurt. And now we got to deal with this stupid Bill Lim.
Two masks.
Double mask. Yeah.
Two mask Casanova.
Oh my goodness. Bill Casanova.
Yeah.
All right. Final thoughts?
Okay, Coastal, lead us off, big guy.
I guess my final thoughts are everything was the way we expected it to. Those that showed up, and we got some surprises. I don't mean to sound like Bill Belichick here from New England, but what I mean by that is we knew Remy would show up and show out because Remy always does. We knew that was going to happen. What I'm surprised is I'm surprised at the way the Hugo's guys were able to adapt and not only do the lucha style, but as well as a strong style and an American style as well. They surprised me in this.
Yeah, I think that's the big takeaway too. At the same time, it's two very different styles that were clashing with people that may not have been as experienced with some of the other that they're familiar with on their own rosters. And they still pulled off a hell of a show. We here and everybody who was watching on YouTube and Twitch land were exposed to a new company with some new stars. And, guys that we may not ordinarily get to see on a live stream, we got to watch them tonight. So we know that the future is bright. We know that this is probably not going to be the only one of these that we'll see. And hopefully that next time we see it and it gets even better. And we hope Vago was there. Maybe he can have that rematch with Atiba. But overall, great show. It was nice. It was very, very refreshing to kind of see the stars that we know personally here on the Dudes and RMP kind of mix it up a little bit more with some outsiders from a different company. And it seemed like there was a good deal of respect at the end, when everybody came in the ring and everything. So it seemed in the end, 90% of it, I'm sure, was in very good competition. And you have to respect that.
What in the holy hell is that on Twitch?
Yeah, I just saw it.
I have no idea what happened.
Of course, when my chat actually freaking works, that
Whoa.
comes up.
I have no clue.
What happened?
I don't know, but we need a mod
Yeah,
here.
so-
There we go.
Oh, you got rid of it? Okay.
I got
Never
rid
mind.
of it.
What was it? Bunch of
It's
garbage.
like a big purple, like a purple screen almost.
Not worth mentioning.
Not
Yeah,
worth
sure.
mentioning.
Fair.
All
Fair.
right.
I should have stayed on Twitch.
No, that's all right.
Talk
I took
casting
care of
over.
it.
Nah, you didn't miss anything.
You did not.
All right, sounds good. Very good.
All right. Eyes, your thoughts? I don't think we got to you yet.
Quick 30 seconds. To me, there's no winners or losers here, really. It was a great showing by both organizations. If anything, just to piggyback off of what Marky said here, it got more eyes and ears on Hugo's Lucha Libre. It really did. It's to me the fans are the winners are us. It's us, the wrestling fans. Chatcast aside, commentating aside, it's us as wrestling fans. We're exposed to another wrestling organization, new wrestlers, new characters, new storylines potentially, anticipation of future matches, rematches, maybe joining, for lack of better words, joining forces with some of the wrestlers from Hugo's with us, performing like a tag team, possibly. I don't know. I'm sure I'm thinking way long term. The point is, the reason why I'm rambling on here is because the opportunities here, guys. Excuse me. The opportunities are endless here. With this, and that's what I got out of it. It was a showcase, really. That's what it came down to, and it was a great showcase. And
that's a good way to put it. Yes, it was an excellent showcase of wrestling, of adapting, of improvising, and just kind of a different way of getting to the same destination, just different twists and turns on some roads that you never took before.
Exactly. I mean, I you can never, to me, when I say more opportunities as well, like more opponents for Drake's RMP championship, potentially more opportunities for tag teams, more opportunities to dethrone JK Pop from their titles, more opportunities for factions. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's okay. It's more opportunity for great stuff. That's what it comes down to.
Gosh.
All right. And that's going to conclude our review of Worlds Collide. First time ever. Fantastic show as always. Nice little Sunday night show to kind of spread things out a little bit in between the busier couple weeks that RMP is about to have here.
Absolutely.
What we'll do is, because we are running really late, I'll go into the spiel on all the upcoming events on Tuesday when we go back live for Recharge. Due to our technical issues we had earlier, definitely put us a little bit behind schedule.
Dude, the internet was wicked garbage before this.
It still is, because my chat won't refresh. Yeah. So
I'd like to thank Psycho Joe's been adding comments here on YouTube, and he added a comment earlier. We were talking about Atiba, that he did a great job and has nothing to be ashamed of. I completely agree. It was just a talking point, more or less, so we just keep the conversations going over here. I like that you added your opinion on it, and you're right. He said that they won, that it got into the Lucha's heads and kicked the night off. Oh, it got into the Lucha's head that RMP kicked off the night with the win, with JK Pop's win. And we do have to give JK Pop for a little credit for taking the night off, not taking the night off, but kicking the night off with a win for RMP. But I think all they did was fire up a bunch of the Hugo's boys and girls in the back to really get up there and turn the tide.
Yeah, they may have.
They got it to 3-1. I think it was up to 3-1 at one point until Balaam's match.
They won 2 or 3 matches in a row.
Yes. Great matches, though. Really, really good matches on this card.
All right. So again, we'll let you guys know what's going on in RMP on Tuesday, because there is a lot to go over, and it's going to take me about 15 to 20 minutes to go through it all, and I'm not even kidding. There's a lot going on this month coming up.
You can't do it now. Eyes will be asleep by the time you're done.
Yeah,
exactly. So I will say this, though. Next Sunday, we're back to the Rocky Mountain Rewind for a week, and then the following week will be the Never Broken review. So we'll be watching No Thanksgiving.
Yes.
2016.
Yes.
So
Beautiful.
That should be a good watch along for you guys to partake in and enjoy. It's about, I think it's separated into 2 parts from what I saw. So we'll probably watch the entire thing. And
we could do that.
and just call
probably
it
around
even
2
for
hours.
tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Around 2 hours or so. Yeah,
It's about
sure.
2 hours, so we'll watch the entire thing. We won't split it up. You gonna say something? I heard your mic go bling.
Sorry, I'm coughing, so I
Okay.
don't want to be. Yeah.
He's still all flustered when he was talking about Remedy. He's still sweating. He can't breathe.
Still?
I
Jeez.
had
It lasts. It
I had
takes a while.
I had to
He's
undo
not like the rest of us. It takes
I
a
had to
while for
undo
him to
some
calm down.
buttons.
Yes, Chester Average Jen, you are right. As I said earlier, the winner was the viewers tonight. That's for sure.
Yes.
I think
That crowd.
I think it
looked
was over
awesome.
100 on YouTube,
Oh,
or close
Mhm.
to. So it was definitely a good crowd all around. So, all right, let's wrap things up here before we end up losing the stream.
Yeah, good point. We made it this far.
Yeah, let's get YouTube all squared away here first before we do anything. All right, everybody on YouTube. Again, and I know I didn't say this at the beginning that I typically do, but we were running a little late. So if you haven't liked the video, please do and leave a comment. It helps with the algorithm. It'll help Rocky Mountain Pro. It'll help the dudes. It'll help everybody all around here. So hit the like button, leave a comment. I will say we will be starting our membership-only live stream starting next month. So if you haven't joined yet, go ahead and hit that join button, $4.99 a month. Not only do you get the membership-only live streams, but you will also get priority chat for Ignition, and you will be involved in the Q&A sessions on Sunday nights with the dudes.
It's us.
That's us.
damn straight.
You can actually talk to
Nestle.
you can actually ask a question to Eyes about his favorite glasses.
Why would you want to? But you can.
About his favorite glasses. All right. Thank you guys so
Do you
much.
still have those? Never mind. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Never mind. No.
He
Don't-
does still
don't.
has. He absolutely has them, and I guarantee you he'll bring it down to Denver next time he's down there.
He's not managing.
He's probably still got the orange fedora.
He does.
You still have the fedora?
Yes, he does.
They've been looking for that at Beer Stop for like a year and a half now.
Keep looking.
Do you have the boa? Do you still have the boa?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good man. Good man.
All right, YouTube, we're going to sign off for tonight before we
That
lose
was
you
awesome.
guys. Thank you so much for watching, as always. We greatly appreciate you guys in the RMP faithful and wrestling fans abroad. We're going to sign off tonight. We will see you guys on Tuesday for another episode of Dudes and Belts Recharge, immediately after the newest episode of Rocky Mountain Pro Charge, airing at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we will be live at 7. For all of us here on the Dudes and Belts, myself, Johnny Deathdrop, Coast Crusader, Marky Pins, and of course that guy down there, Triple I, we will see you guys on Tuesday. As always, stay safe, stay classy, and we'll see you on the next one.